Yang.
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds! So nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Now with this campaign, bang, dang, it's and hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Woo! Nerd power. All right. Well, we have Fred back and we have Sola as well. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank
I
you.
think everybody knows who Fred is.
Can you hear me?
But yeah, we hear you, Fred. We hear you. You drive careful, my friend. Drive careful.
I'm having a hard time hearing you. I gotta go back out.
Oh shit.
Uh-oh.
Excuse me.
He's
All right.
probably gonna
Fred
be
will
in
come
and
back
out.
shortly.
Yeah.
Fred will come back shortly. As you can tell, Fred has a day job, and maybe connectivity is not always available as he's moving from place to place. But Sola, while we're waiting for Fred to return, tell us a little bit about yourself for those who may not be familiar, because this is your first time on the Nerds for Yang channel.
It is my first time. I'm excited to be here. So my name is Sola O'Brien. My background is in digital marketing. Run a business, a marketing consultancy in Detroit called BTO Solutions. Fred and I met during the Detroit fundraiser, during the Detroit debates on, I believe that was July 31st. And I ran the fundraiser, I organized it. And Fred called me. He happened to just get a beeline to who's the organizer, and he picked up the phone. He called me. He was helping with calling nonprofits from the road. He was organizing volunteers from the road. So he was an integral part to putting the Detroit fundraiser together. And then after the event was executed, and it was a successful event, given that we had less than 10 days. I think we had close to a week to prepare it. So after that, we dug each other's hustle, and we worked well together. So once he started Tourist Truckers for Yang, I've been pitching in, and then I've been the communications director. So I have been leading copy development for the website, the branding, marketing, communications in general, media outreach, PR. So that's my key role with Truckers for Yang. And now that we co-founded TFY PAC in order to fund Truckers for Yang activities. So I'm on the operations end for that as well.
So welcome back, Fred. I see you in high definition.
Thank you. Thank you. I actually pulled over. I hope we have great reception. My headset is working, and
the quality is fantastic. And I feel very good that you're pulled over, because I felt very uncomfortable earlier.
Did you?
I don't want to be responsible for Fred getting into
I gave you a big hello, nerds, and then
we got that. And I was worried those might have been your last words, bro.
No. Hey, it was probably the look on my face. I was like, whoa! Right? I was like, what's going on? Right? No, it was actually I saw something that I won't tell you what it was, right? But I saw, like, a lot of times we see things on the road that'll shock you.
Humanity.
Yeah. So I'll just keep it. I'll keep it humanity first.
Yeah. All right. So I have a question. You guys have been talking about Truckers for Yang, and it's not just like Nerds for Yang, like a name. It's like a legal entity that you guys have created. Is it a political action committee? Or tell us a little bit about, like, what is Truckers for Yang? Because last time you were on the show, Fred, there was a thing. I thought there was like an abundance thing as well. Like, wasn't there a logo for another pack, or is that the same thing now?
So we actually founded TFY PAC. So it stands for Truckers for Yang, but it is not explicitly called Truckers for Yang. So our filing states TFY PAC. And that is an independent expenditure committee. It is a super PAC, but its key goal is to raise funds and to process funds specifically to fund Truckers for Yang's activities, like the 16 trucks on the road and all of our community outreach activities as well. So there was another super PAC that Fred was working with, having conversations with more like, and also other organizations that we were having conversations with as well. We have chosen to organize TFY PAC because it's the fastest and easiest way for us to raise money and to fund the projects as well. So we assessed all of the different options that we had, and we arrived at the best conclusion and what we found was the best option for us.
Got it. So is this the main pack that you're focusing on, Fred? Or are you doing multiple?
No, correct. Just this, and just for your nerds out there. So Sola, have you kind of broke down your what you do with the press and communications and press releases, things of that nature?
Sure,
okay, great. So basically, she is an integral part of the organization because, as you can see, I'm constantly driving all over the place, and so she has created several different press releases based off of different things that have happened, and based off of the data that we have pulled in terms of other organizations in the market, it just made sense for us to go in this direction. To be quite honest with you, to have more creative control, and then also our mantra is to do the will of the people. So our mantra is really we powered by we rather than I powered by my, right? So
totally.
Yeah. So for example, when I hear people say, it's my organization, I created it, right? It's probably not going to be a good match, right? So with us and what Truckers for Yang and TFY PAC is doing is we're always reading what the will of the Yang Gang is, and we want to have community organizing events, which Sola can get more into, and our vision really is to do the will of the people.
Hey, one thing, Sola, would it be possible if you have them laying around, could you put headphones or earbuds in? Because we're getting some feedback. Or otherwise, you can turn the volume down slightly. Because basically when I talk or Fred talk, we're kind of hearing it echo a little bit. So if you don't have earbuds, that's fine. You can just turn your volume down as much as you can where you can still hear us. Okay, so Fred, let me recap. You're saying that, I think it's a little better. Yeah, so Fred, you're saying you thought about different packs and you decided to go with TFY because you wanted to maintain a little bit more creative control and more specifically, align yourselves with what the Yang Gang, the kind of grassroots support wanted versus other goals.
Correct. Yeah. And really, that's really the long and short of everything. In terms of TFY PAC, where our goal is to unite America, bottom line, right? Behind the 16 trucks, and that really is the goal. And we believe, based off of the data that we've already pulled, we can do that. This is something that the Yang Gang really wants. The Yang Gang has clamored for it over and over and over again. And then we are going to also do, because once the 16 trucks are on the road, where do we go from there? Well, while we're doing the 16 trucks and afterwards, especially on our way to the general, because we know we're going to win, we're going to do community organizing, and we're actually going to be going into these communities, both in the inner city and the rural areas, and figuring out what the needs of the people are and meeting them where they're at.
Well, that's exciting. So maybe Sola, could you share a little bit about what the marketing plan is? Like, how are you guys gonna to raise this money, and how far along are you, and how much do you need?
Yeah, so for the trucks, so we're raising money for the next 5 trucks right now, including Fred's. Some of you may not know this, but the truck is actually not paid for. Fred's wrap isn't paid for. GoFundMe was started and over $10,000 was raised, but we were due to campaign policies and limitations as well, which is another thing that led us into founding TFY PAC. We cannot use GoFundMe donations for funding the truck wrap. So we had to refund the GoFundMe, and which is why we're raising the same amount now, or we're raising money now specifically from grassroots to cover Fred's truck, and also to begin financing the other trucks. They're about $10,000 each for a wrap, for the wrap, the labor, and additional costs. So we're looking to raise a total of $60,000 by the end of the month. We want to get financials squared away for those 6 trucks. And then we'll be moving forward with wraps. So in the coming days and next week, we want to start telling you guys more about the next truckers that are going to be on the road as part of the Truckers for Yang crew.
That makes a ton of sense, because I got a strange email from GoFundMe. I think it was like yesterday.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
it was like, oh, you're getting your money refunded. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, I didn't ask for the refund.
Yeah.
But I guess now it makes sense, because
Yeah.
you guys are going to raise the money through another mechanism, or directly
Correct.
to the PAC this time. Got it.
Yeah.
Correct. So what we're asking is for people who gave to the GoFundMe, or maybe even you didn't, to take that money and just put it into the PAC. And there we have a Act Blue, and it's just like any other Act Blue that you would give to a candidate with. It's a mechanism to fund the grassroots. Now we also have a large donor idea as well, and that vision is very, very specific. So we're going to be raising money both ways. So that vision is for a one-time, if you want to do a one-time event, and we said this yesterday, and I really believe this, whether we ask for $50, $50,000, $100,000, or $1 million, we have to, the rules of the market don't change in my mind, and we have to provide a perceived $50,000, $100,000, or $1 million worth of value for said customer or said donor. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that we will be doing for high donors is their name will be attached to the trailer on the website. This, like, for example, if you gave $10,000, it would be the Tom Ling, and I'm not asking you to give 10,000, or to be the Nerds for Yang, Truckers for Yang truck, right? And then, there's other events. So like if somebody like was to give 50,000, obviously they would get the truck. And so the 3 policy positions in the middle, and then the Truckers for Yang logo, we're going to keep. But the picture on the very back, and then on the back portions, you can use that to, like, maybe have a picture with you and Andrew together, or things of that nature. And then, like for example, if you were to give 50,000 or 100,000, if you're a big money donor out there, we would actually put on a event in the name of that donor. And that provides just added value in terms of the donor, because, to be quite honest with you, people really want to know the effect that they're having with the money that they're giving. And when you get, and I've hung out in country clubs and golf, and done this and done that in the mortgage industry, and real estate stuff like that. When you get to a certain level, there's only so many cars you can buy, there's only so many houses you can buy and vacation homes. Then you start thinking about legacy. So if you're a high money donor out there, I want you to think about the availability of going down in history as somebody who made it possible for Andrew Yang to actually get his name recognition boosted to the nth degree. Because we're gonna prove this with analytics and where we're going with these trucks. We're gonna actually prove with data how many eyeballs possibly could be on these trucks as well. So sorry about the long explanation there.
No, that's super exciting. Sola, where can people go? Is there, I know Fred mentioned there's an Act Blue link. Is there a website? Like, what if people want to donate right now? Where would they go?
Well, really quickly, I do want to add that in regards to the data that we'll be collecting, and Fred is absolutely right. So we are going to be crunching the data for how many eyeballs are on any given truck, collecting that data on a daily basis. And in addition to running analytics to calculate the reach that we are receiving on social media through Truckers for Yang channels. So we'll be able to show that data. And I believe I saw recently, I haven't double checked this, so we're going to confirm this, but I saw that that investing in the trucks are about a tenth of the same investment as a Google or digital ads in general, and that they provide the same impact as 10 times of a spend on advertising, digital advertising. So we're looking to prove those sort of results as well. So in comparison to one truck, what the value of that, what the reach of that is compared with other channels, and what the impact, direct impact is of having those trucks on the road. Now, in regards to donations, we do have an ActBlue account. That's actblue.com/TFY. Actually, rather, it's actually bit.ly. It's bit.ly/TFY donate. And we do have a site that's coming up, truckersforyang.com. There are a few loose ends that we're looking to tie up regarding the site. One functionality that we will have that's really exciting is an interactive map. So as Fred travels across the country, like there's a mini Yang face, there's going to be a mini Fred on a map, and you'll be able to see Fred as he travels across the country. And the same with other drivers as well. And this is an additional benefit of high-level donors. So when they sponsor a particular truck, they receive recognition of their donation on the map as well. So that's another piece of visibility.
And then they will also have some creative control.
So in addition to that, gosh, I lost my train of thought now. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
No, I was going to say, in addition to that, they're going to have some creative control on that particular truck, which we've already worked out with the company that I work with. It's called Wizard Way, and it's out of Romeo, Illinois. I've worked it out with them, and then the person that is doing the art, a guy by the name of Viga at Viga Design. So part of the reason that, and not to go on a rabbit trail here, but part of the reason why we decided not to do the GoFundMe, to just be very candid, is that the gentleman that I work for and then the gentleman that did the artwork, they're Lithuanian immigrants. They are United States citizens, but I know Donald Trump, and I know how, like any story is, it doesn't have to be true for it to hurt a campaign or anything of that nature. So even though we could have used the GoFundMe if we were forced to, this is just a safer option. It makes so much more sense, and it's completely airtight.
Yeah, no, it makes a ton of sense, and I guess with this legal structure, now you have a lot of flexibility to deploy the money the way you want to. I
Correct.
suppose one limitation, at least that I've heard, is as a PAC, you won't be able to coordinate with the campaign, but maybe you wanted to kind of go go independent anyway, or was that a consideration in terms of how you just whether to do the PAC or not?
Well, the great thing about being mobile is I see Andrew on at events, right? And so coordination is really talking about uh, helping each other for the same goal, right? But if me and Andrew want to talk about the Nets or the Jets or the Mets or anything,
Seahawks.
or the Seahawks, if we want to talk about R-Dub, and how good he's
Monday night, baby. You saw it.
Yeah,
You saw it yourself.
yeah, and if that's what we want to talk about, we can talk about those things um, without issue.
Yeah.
So yeah, there will be no coordination between Andrew and myself, or the campaign and myself. Obviously, we will still remain very friendly. We just can't talk about doing events together. We can tweet that we are doing an event and we would love Andrew to come. Right? That is 100% illegal. If things have to be talked about in a public space, and then those people have to respond in kind without any coordination from us.
So yes, sorry, I just wanted to underscore too that Fred and Andrew's relationship is very personal. So they connect on a personal level, and we run our activities completely outside of that relationship. So as far as coordination goes, it's really only when we're talking about campaign activities or PAC activities that constitutes as campaign. They can still have a close personal relationship.
Got it. And what can you tell us a little bit more about what kinds of stuff you're thinking about after you wrap all the trucks? You alluded to, well, then we might also do events and things like that. Can you share a little bit more about what you're thinking about in that regard?
Yeah, well, the 5 trucks, so our goal for the 6 trucks for funding them at the very least is the end of this month. So that's 2 weeks from now. And then by December 31st, by the end of the year, we want to be able to wrap an additional 10 trucks. So our goal is 16 trucks total. We want to have as much visibility as possible in Iowa in January. So those are big goals that we're pushing towards. In tandem to that, we are also discussing community outreach and grassroots activities. We've talked about ideas like free concerts. We've talked about 1,000 turkey giveaways. We've talked about cookouts. So rather than moving forward with an idea that we've established, we're going to be going into different communities. Like Fred mentioned, we're looking to really communicate with and engage with rural communities, inner city, disenfranchised voters in general, and voters that feel like they don't matter and they don't count, like Fred likes to say. So those are the communities that we're looking to engage directly with. What we'll be doing is going into these communities and finding the community leaders, asking them what they think the community needs, asking them where they need support, and providing that support as best as we can.
And are you going to focus the events on specific states like New Hampshire and South Carolina, or is it going to be spread out? Like, how are you going to decide where to go?
So let me talk about that specifically, because I was just talking to some people about this, and so I'm trying to figure out with the company that I work for an average of what the truck that I operate costs and what I would need weekly in order to actually run in Iowa like around 700 miles a day empty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all I do is go around Iowa nonstop,
Right.
right? Nonstop on the 80, 35, Des Moines, from the from the cornfields, to the corn patches, everything, right? So this is something she doesn't even really know about this. I apologize. We we're doing so much work, both together and separately. And then for those of you that know me, I put my name and number out on social media all the time. For example, my phone number is 602-750-8751. And I have people all the time that call me and give me ideas or ask me, by the way, guys and gals, um, if you know somebody that fits the description of somebody that might either need help or want to help, we're currently taking applications, so to speak, for volunteers. And obviously we're taking donations, both small and very, very large, to do a lot of things. So correct, we really want to focus on Iowa. That's a passion specifically of mine because I know that area. I was actually homeless in Des Moines, as a younger guy because of my drug addiction. Um, so I know some of the landscape there. And when we get to the point close to where we're going to vote in Iowa, we're hoping that we can actually at least have one truck, myself, in Iowa week in and week out, just running that area nonstop.
That would be awesome. That's kind of like basically a moving billboard that will
Correct.
kind of encircle all the voters.
Can I interject for a second?
Of course.
So yes, they're not only mobile billboards, but we like to call them supersized mobile billboards. And in regards to the strategy that Fred is mentioning, being physically in Iowa as a way to drive awareness and maximize awareness for Andrew, just even if you've seen these trucks, you see the kind of impact that they make, and you see the kind of energy that they drive. Even people who aren't Andrew Yang supporters want to come and take pictures with the truck. And guess where those pictures are going? They're going to social media. So that's
Correct.
Automatic additional brand visibility for Andrew. So if you imagine 16 of these trucks driving that same amount of impact and energy, just outside of Fred alone, because we can't have 16 Freds, unfortunately. But even just this is trucks themselves, and people engage with them. All it would really take, and what people have been requesting is, Fred, can you come to this city and help us drive visibility and excitement? Fred, can you come to our city and help us drive visibility and excitement? When there's 16 trucks on the road, we will be able to do that 16 times over.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and just to piggyback off of that, so a question came up the other day when we were on Paget Kagi's live feed, like, how are you going to get people to be as dedicated as somebody like, for example, like myself or yourself or Sola, right? So the ask for these truckers is not going to be like, for example, in trucking, you get a day off for every week you work, right? So what people normally do is they stay out for 3 weeks and they come home for 3 or 4 days and then they're back out. Now for myself, I actually spend my home time at Andrew Yang events. So I haven't been home for months and I'm not going to go home for months, which it's a little bit unfair for these truckers, many of these truckers, to expect them just not to go home at all whatsoever. That's an unrealistic expectation ask of people. So what we're going to be doing is actually supplementing if they need to go to a specific area or to do an event, and it's not myself. We will be supplementing that, because obviously they're going to be losing out in terms of income. So the ask here for the Yang Gang is going to be large, but the return is going to be large as well. So we believe, based off of the market that happened really with the GoFundMe and what we've done already with the /TFY donate that you see there, we're doing quite well, and we're just kind of starting and just really kicking this thing off. There's going to be a lot of things to come, and you guys are going to love it. Trust me.
I think it's great. I'd love to see if the audience has any questions. So why don't I'll take a look at the chat box in a minute, but while we wait for questions to come in for you guys, let me start off with a question that I have. And I'm curious, Fred, have you encountered any negativity around the truck? I know that I remember watching on Twitter, there was one video with the gentleman that approached you and you were like, it's pointing at me. The camera is pointing at me. Do you remember that video?
Yeah.
Does that happen a lot? Like just like sort of hostility?
There has been some hostility. It's been minimal. And I will say that probably the other truckers would have dealt with it a little bit better than I did. Right.
I thought you kept cool.
Yeah, I did. I didn't keep cool. I just diagnosed the situation, and so I came to a conclusion that this person was not so kind. So I responded in kind, and once I made the diagnosis, I let the person know what type of person they were, and then they said, "What did you call me?" And I said, "Well, this is what I called you, sir." And that was kind of the end of it. That person got in my face, and I was like, okay. And he was a Trump supporter from Wyoming, actually, and it happened in all states, California, right? So I'm coming through California in Donner Pass, right, and this guy jumps out of a truck with Wyoming plates on, right?
Do you think he was hostile because of your Yang branded truck, or do you think he was just angry about you filming?
It was a combination thereof of both. Can you hear me? Hello? I cannot hear you.
Okay.
All right, I'm back. I'm back.
Okay.
You were saying it was the combination that he didn't like your truck and he didn't like you filming.
Correct.
Yeah. All right, I got the first question. Here we go. Fred, where are you right now from Dustin?
I am I'm close to I'm 95 miles from Twin Falls on I-86, like Bay, Idaho, like that area.
All right. Are you guys going to approach corporates?
Corporate entities? We're open to having that discussion with corporate entities. One thing that we're going to do is we're going to be contacting maxed out donors and gauging their interest and inviting them to contribute to raising funds and donating towards Truckers for Yang as well.
All right, let me ask.
We're open to corporate, and we will be contacting maxed out donors.
And let me interject there. So if you are listening, corporates, we're open to whatever in terms of, but the goal is always going to be the same, regardless, which is going to boost recognition, and then to bring people together. We want people that both the media and the GOP and DNC have convinced people to have their guns and knives pointed at each other, and we just want people to take their guns and knives. Now, these aren't real guns and knives. These are kind of like, I'm not saying these. This is just
Like figurative.
figuratively speaking, right? We want people to take their guns and knives figuratively, put them down for 5 minutes, get to know each other, get to know Andrew Yang and his policy positions, and then pick those guns and knives up figuratively and point them at a wrecked system that is rigged against them. And we want to un-F the system through these trucks. Now, corporates can help do that if they want to help do that. But I will tell you that they're not going to have any say in terms of what the Yang Gang is going to actually be telling us what to do. So you're also going to get a business plan from us, and then you're also going to get, this is what we're doing, and we're going to be asking the Yang Gang through Twitter polls and other things, what do you think we should do with A, B, and C? What do you think we should? So we're going to have total transparency throughout this whole process. And then we're opening our, obviously, when you enter the marketplace and you're going to be extremely successful. And the reason we are so successful is we have a team of great people behind us. I would be nothing in terms of, what's going on without Sola, because she has a great, she always has her finger on the pulse of not only Yang Gang, but the media. She's really good at a lot of different things that I either can't be good at because I don't have time, or am not good at, like, for example, tech. So to answer your question directly, yes. Will they supersede Yang Gang? And Yang Gangs will? Absolutely not. And the hope, if they have any hope to do that, they can just
Really quickly.
Yeah.
Hi. So in regards to corporate as well, we're going to pick entities, and we want to encourage organizations who are very much aligned with Yang's platform.
Yes.
So we're going to be choosing organizations and working with organizations that are very much aligned with Andrew's platform. For
example, not drug companies, and for example, not energy companies. But go ahead.
Right. So let's say, as an example,
or if it is an energy company, it would be something like solar, wind.
Okay. So let's say, as an example, you get an email and a contact says, "Hey, I want to learn more," and they're like, "You know what? We'd like to sponsor 10 trucks."
Mm-hmm.
And then you say, "Oh, well, who's this for?" And you say, "Oh, well, it's for Exxon Mobil." And we support all kinds of energy. We're a new company. We have a new Exxon Mobil. It's not, we're for the people too, and we can get you 10 trucks tomorrow wrapped.
Yeah, but the Yang Gang can get us.
For any company, we want to have a conversation and really understand what they're trying to do and who they are. And I'm just saying this because we're going to be talking to organizations that are not ExxonMobil. So without kind of putting the kibosh on that, we want to open up a conversation first.
Correct.
And learn more about the company and what they do.
And will you share openly what companies are giving you money?
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're gonna get complete and total transparency. And I said this last night. We're opening. Anytime that you are extremely successful, which we are going to be, we've already proven ourselves successful in a certain degree in terms of, we were able to make a showing on when our candidate wasn't even making a announcement. It was another candidate making an announcement, right? Example, Beto says, "Hey, sorry guys, I'm out of here," and the Andrew Yang Truckers for Yang truck is behind him and I did not plan that at all whatsoever. I had no idea, right? Right. So we were able to actually supersede MSNBC trying to, put the kibosh on Andrew Yang, right? So,
are you circling around Harris at the moment? Are you driving around Harris?
no, but we did go to Pete Buttigieg's office in South Bend.
Oh,
and I don't know if you've seen the video. You can check it out on Twitter. I backed into I kind of held up traffic for a little bit, and I backed into the back area there. I went in with somebody from the South Bend, Amber. She runs South Bend, and said hi and said, "Hey, we Truckers for Yang want to thank Pete Buttigieg," and we were actually able to film. And when we filmed, two people, I was actually buying a Pete Buttigieg sweater, right? Because I wanted, it says boot edge.
yeah.
So I'm going to take the edge and block that out and put boot off throat, right? Because he talks about taking the boot off our throat, right? So I was buying a sweater specifically with that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so somebody comes from the back and says, "You're not going to believe what's out here." And then I turn around and said, "Oh, yes, she will." Right. And these two organizers come in and they're like, it said freedom dividend. I was like, what the heck? And then the other one said, "I read the whole thing before I even realized who it was." Right. So they read the whole policy positions. So we actually have them on camera loving the Andrew Yang truck, loving the Truckers for Yang truck. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's great. So the power of this truck.
Fred, also, do you want to mention going to New York?
Oh yeah. So we went to New York. Jewel Media was there. Shout out to Jewel Media. She's phenomenal. So we went to New York, and the plan, I got a hold of some of the New York Yang gang, and I was like, "Hey, I want to come to." So I was taking a load from like upstate New York to West Virginia, and it was only like 30 miles out of my way because it went through New Jersey. And I was like, I could go to the city at night, come in, go all the way around Columbus Circle, and then go to the Trump Hotel, park in front of the Trump Hotel, photobomb the Trump Hotel with the Andrew Yang truck.
Oh, that would be sweet.
And then
did you do that?
I did that. Yeah.
Oh man.
Then we went to Times Square, right? And throughout this whole process, I actually parked the truck down the street from the Trump Hotel. Me went with the New York City Yang Gang to a diner, and we yanged the entire diner. Burners for Yang was there, right? And a bunch of other White Rabbit, a bunch of other Yang Gang was there. And we literally talked to every single person in the diner.
That's incredible. You guys are hardcore.
I know that, and then the lady comes up to me, and two homeless people came in, right? And they were like, "Hey, can you help us out?" Right? I was like, "What do you need?" It was like, "We need something to eat." I was like, "Yeah, go ahead and sit down. We'll buy you something to eat, no problem." Right? And then the lady, who is the waitress, was like, I asked her, it's like, how could we make your night, right? She was like, "Well, $100 tip would make my night," right? And she was like totally kidding, right? Totally kidding. And I was like, "Dude, let's give her $100 tip," right? Right? So we gave her $100 tip too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you
so
know how
great.
to make an impression. All right, here's the next question. I believe this is Hey Camianos en Español. is any truck in Spanish?
Yes. Great question, and the answer is yes. So
I believe
there are
it's
two-
C, but that's fine.
That was good.
when you said C, I'm thinking A, B, C, and then it hit me. I was like, dang, right?
But go ahead.
Right.
We'll give the answer in English because that's all the Spanish I know.
Yeah, yeah. So yes, I see what you're saying, ma'am. So yes, we have two languages that we want to focus on for right now. One of them is going to be Mandarin, and actually, as you were talking, I have. Let me see this text message. It's actually from. I can't pull it up right now, but I have him down as help, Mandarin help in my phone, right?
That's his name.
No. There's a name there. I just need to pull it up, and I don't want to freeze my. I don't want to lose you, right?
But you're going to focus on some Spanish for sure.
At Mandarin and Spanish, and then we're also going to focus on how we want to have a female driver, at least one or two, and then we want people, of all walks of life, people in the South, people in the North. We'd love to have a couple Black drivers. Black females would be awesome. No, go ahead. You're about to interject.
Oh, let me unmute you. Sorry, Sola.
Yeah,
I have you muted just for the background.
I understand. So, as Fred mentioned, we do want to have as diversified of a quote unquote fleet as possible. So we want Truckers for Yang to be as very diverse. We're encouraging truckers who are interested to contact us directly. We specifically are looking for Yang Gang. So
Yes,
we want to find truckers who are Yang Gang and wrap their truck or have them come in. Fred has a system in place for getting their trucks wrapped. And yes, Spanish, Mandarin. We're also thinking some additional languages, Southeast Asian languages like Korean, perhaps. Maybe depending on what we'll talk to certain communities and see what they prefer, and see what languages we should have. For instance, in Los Angeles, we're going to talk to Los Angeles Yang Gang and ask them what languages we should have on these trucks. And then what other languages have we talked about, Fred? We've talked about, go ahead, Chinese, Korean, Spanish.
Yeah. So really, at this point, we've talked about several languages, but at this point, our first priority is Mandarin and Spanish. Those are kind of our first priority.
Got it.
And things are going to happen very organically, and so we have very specific plans around vision. However, it's been phenomenal because the right people have been just showing up and contacting me or contacting her, both media and then non-media, just regular Yang Gang, saying, oh, I can help out here, or hey, this is what I'd like to see happen. So we're opening ourselves up for both ideas and then criticism. Like if we're not going to be hypersensitive, and we know that like anytime you're making a huge effect and that you're extremely successful, which we will be, there are going to be people that are going to be naysayers, and those naysayers actually, if they actually have good intentions, many of them, and a lot of them have specialized knowledge that maybe we don't have access to, and rather than get super insecure, which I've seen happen many a times in the corporate world and other places, we're going to say things like, well, if you have something that we don't know about, like I would hate for there to be a blind spot and I don't know it, and we're going to glean that information from these people. So
sounds great.
That's kind of,
I would vote for a multilingual truck where it has a bunch of different languages. That might be a cool one. But here's the next question from Daniel at American Jobs Factory.
That's a
Can you
great question,
deliver
Daniel.
presents for Christmas, like toys for tots, like a Yang in a Santa outfit?
Yeah, we can certainly. We're so the community outreach activities that we're looking into that can certainly fall under that umbrella. But again, we are going to be reaching out to the communities directly to find out exactly how we can help them. So if they say, our community, our families are looking for toy donations, like our kids needs toys, we need toy donations, then that's what we'll do. If they say, we would love to have every family have a turkey for Christmas, that's what we'll do. So we'll really let the community leaders take the lead on that decision-making process.
That would be
yeah,
a great idea, though, Daniel.
Yeah,
So,
keep it in mind.
You've got my phone number if you want to brainstorm on actually how to make that happen. If you can find someone that needs that, our mantra is we're going to find need and fill it, basically.
It'd be cool if you had found like a low income school district in South Carolina, and you drove from the West Coast to South Carolina, and then collected toys on the way, and then you end up at the school, and then you can provide it to all the kids. That would be kind of sweet. Anyway, all right, here's the next question.
That's awesome.
Would you consider a giant caravan with all of the trucks at one point? That would get a ton of coverage. So the caravan of math, a positive caravan story.
That would be phenomenal. The only issue that I see with that is trucking. When you're OTR driver, it's very difficult to get everybody together at the same time.
Yeah.
But even 3 trucks in the same.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even 3 trucks would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Or even 5. So yeah, I mean that's definitely an option. I would love to see like 3 to 5 trucks at debates, right? Like when it comes down to us, Warren, Bernie, right? After the world finds out that Biden is not the one. Yeah, that would be fun.
It would make an impression.
Yeah, yeah, it would make a huge impression. I mean, it would basically make a lot bigger impression than Pete Buttigieg throwing 50,000 signs out in Iowa, which he did. He had whoever his sign company was. They were definitely swinging a hammer at 3 in the morning.
All right, here's another question. Let's say Saudi Aramco or a Russian oil corporation wants to write a check, overseas corporates.
We can't accept overseas donations, period. So the donations that we accept have to be from U.S. Citizens, nationals, and permanent residents. So
what if it's a U.S. subsidiary of a Russian corporation?
I want to say automatically no, but again, I would want to know more about that organization. For instance, what if it's a nonprofit, or but if it's a private entity, we want to stay out of that pool entirely.
Yeah, I mean, the whole reason for the super PAC is, I mean, I was scared to actually pay the people out of the GoFundMe because they're Lithuanian, and that we've had the Ukraine thing with Joe Biden. We've had Trump and Russia. The last thing I wanted to do was bring two good friends of mine that are Lithuanian up in the news, right? So
because they participated in the original GoFundMe. Was that the concern?
No. So the gentleman that I drive with, or that I get my
Mhm.
contracts with, the gentleman that owns the company,
Yeah.
the trucking company, Wizard Way, he's
Mhm.
Lithuanian. The guy that did the wrap, Vega Design,
Mhm.
Vega.design, you can check out the website. He is Lithuanian, both citizens. But I did that's kind of the real reason I haven't paid them already. Is we just wanted to make sure that everything was just completely airtight for their safety and their security,
Mm.
because Trump supporters and Fox News and these other they can be just completely and totally insane.
Yeah. You don't want to be
You
the
know,
next Burisma or whatever kind of
yeah.
story. Yeah. This is I don't know if this is a real question. It might be a rhetorical question. Mindful Skeptics podcast wants to know if you love Mindful Skeptics podcasts.
I
Right.
love Mindful Skeptics podcast so much that he actually has a one of a kind, right? Like one of one Truckers for Yang beanie, right? So that's how much I love Boyce Littlefield at Mindful Skeptics podcast.
Damn. That's love right there.
Hey,
One of one
boy.
beanie.
How's it
Shoot.
going, buddy?
I need to get one of them beanies. All right, here a question just so everybody knows. Like super chat on this live stream does not go to Truckers for Yang, so don't super chat. Just go to the bit.ly bit.ly/TFY donate. It's on here. Don't do no super chat.
And Corey, if that's the Corey Martin that I think it is, she does the overpass in Houston, and she's like one of my favorite Yang Gang.
Right on, Corey. Thank
Hey,
you for your
Corey.
support.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would love to take super chat and then give it to TFY, but I think like it'd be better if you just give directly to them. Let's see. Sasha wants to know, how do you reach out to independent contracted truckers? Do you work with independents?
Yes. So I was actually talking to a few of them prior to this phone call. Actually.
All right. Someone else is asking about the giant caravan. People really like that caravan idea.
Oh man, I would love a caravan going to like whatever debate's gonna be in January.
Oh my God.
To have like at least 3 trucks. And like, okay, so Sola has been in the truck, and we have these songs that we play. Like, what was the Andrew Yang song, right? Where it's like Andrew Yang, and then it's like big truck full of money, big truck full of money, right? And it's like this sick song, right?
Yeah.
Where it goes through all the little sayings that Andrew says, like, I've done the math, the money's there, right?
I have the data.
I have the data. Just goes through everything, right? And so we were blasting this, and like poor Warren and Trump supporters, right? Because they were really, hey, Trump supporters were on one side, Warren was taking up another, and then speaking of Boyce, I was Boyce and Alyssa were kind of like manning the ships in terms of the Ohio Yang Gang, and telling the Yang Gang where to go, and based off conversations me and Sola were having, we were like, okay, get on the corner where Warren is, and just dominate, right? So we were coming through just like as slowly as possible, and then honking the horn, and the cops are just like, oh my God, this is awesome, right?
Yeah.
The cops were like, but there's like there's not a lot they could do, and they loved it too.
You'd almost want to get arrested. You know what I mean? Almost.
Yeah. It's funny because I've been on the phone with Sola before, and I've said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out what it takes to get arrested, and then I'm going to just not do that, but everything up into that.
Yeah,
It would be a news story.
I
It would
always
be a news
respond
story.
by saying we do not want to have to raise money for your bail.
The free
but
Fred.
Yeah,
if we
exactly.
absolutely have to, we will. But just don't put us in that position. So
Yeah, I won't. Don't worry, I won't put you guys in that position.
I will
Hopefully.
donate to the Fred Defense Fund if you get arrested.
don't.
You don't have to.
Right there. That's
All
like
right.
it.
All right,
Yeah.
I don't want to encourage. I don't want to enable you. All right, here.
Yeah, you don't have to.
So here, people are saying, "Hey, are you only wrapping trucks? I guess of your own, or what about drivers with their own trailers? How does that work if they wanted to participate?"
Well, if they have their own trailer, I suppose that they could have their trailer wrapped by the gentleman
you
that
guys.
the gentleman that we utilize, because the artwork has already been done. So for big money donors, 2/3 of the art will already have been done, and then you will have created design on the other 1/3. So it'd be just the back portion, and then the trailer's kind of actually the length of it is broken up into thirds. You have the truckers for Yang, then you have the policy positions, freedom dividend, and then the 3 policy positions underneath: Medicare for all, human-centered capitalism. So to answer the question, yes, we could do that. We just would need to know more about the trucker and their situation, and they would have to work specifically and get their contracts from Wizard Way, which is very common.
What if someone just had a regular car and they said, "Hey, look, I don't mind if you wrap my car, but I don't have the money to wrap it." Would TFY PAC be willing to sponsor wrapping all kinds of vehicles?
If we had the money to do so, and a large money donor said that was part of the plan that they maybe wanted to do, so maybe yes. And to answer to just be just blunt and frank, I don't really think that is with the current mission.
Well, what I wanted to mention,
I'm not also completely ruling it out.
So I think for right now, for us, wrapping the 16 trucks is top priority.
Top priority. Yeah.
And again, all of our activities primarily are going to be well informed by the will of Yang and the will of the people. So that's not completely off the table, but the 16 trucks are definitely our key priority at this time.
Yeah, and guys, remember, once the 16 trucks are done, they're done, right? They're done. They're out in the, and then basically we raise funds for support to support those 16 trucks, and then particularly in key states, and then we raise support for events throughout this entire process.
Yeah, how long do you think the wraps will stay on the trucks? Like, how long will we see them driving around, like 2 years from now?
We could. I mean, you could take the wrap off, but yeah, we could potentially see them 2 years from now. What I'd like to see is 4 of them back up to the White House and Donald Trump load his crap in the back of these trucks, and we take Donald
Trump. I love it.
Yeah, we take Donald Trump's stuff back to New York City for him. Oh, that would be the great. And then another thing I'd like to see is, and Andrew, if you're listening, this is great. We'd like to see these trucks on the White House, on the White House lawn, so to speak.
Oh yeah, man! For the inauguration party, for sure.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Well, look, we are running on time, and I think we got most of the questions answered. I guess I wanted to wrap by making sure we covered all the topics that you wanted to, Fred and Sola. Are there other things that you want to share with the audience while we're here?
Just give, please. Just give. You know, that you know, this is a good cause. We know it's a good cause. You know it's a good cause. And we believe, based off of what we've seen, that this is the will of the people. And so we're going to ask people to do the same thing that I have done and that Sola has done for and with the Andrew Yang campaign, which is give. So are you there, Sola? You were breaking up for a little bit.
Sola's back.
Yeah, my computer died, so jump on mobile. I'm back, guys.
Okay, great. Okay, great, perfect. So yeah, the ask is to give with your heart, and don't give till it hurts, but go right up to the line. You know? So
Give till you wince.
yeah, exactly.
So how close are you guys? Are you going to put a little like counter?
Yes. So right regarding giving too, there's so many other ways you can give too. So if you're not in the position to donate financially, definitely jump in. There's so many people doing amazing things. There's a platform being launched that will help find out what projects are running, who needs what. You can donate your skills more strategic and in a more organized and structured manner.
Correct.
In
So
the
piggybacking off
donation count, so we do have a tracker on the Act Blue. We do have a tracker on the Act Blue pages of yesterday. So if you go to bit.ly/TFY donate, just like in the subscript on the video, you will be able to see a tracker and see how far along we are towards $60,000. Go ahead, Fred.
No, I was just thank you, Jewel Media. Thank you, who the other lady that gave as well. I just want to say thank you,
Sasha.
Sasha. Yes, Sasha. Thank you, Sasha. So in terms of, we're also going to be looking for volunteers that can, like, I'm going to need 2 assistants, one in the morning and one in the one at night. That would basically, because I drive 24 hours a day. Now I'm not saying that I drive all day long, but sometimes I drive in the day, sometimes I drive in the night, right? And when I'm not driving, then me and Sola are, and sometimes when I'm driving, we're having conversations, usually twice a day, about who's called in and things like that. So I will need 2 personal assistants, one day shift, one night shift, that anytime people call, I get those people on the phone and they just take notes and get the information to the right people. So that's one of the things that we're recruiting for immediately. Then she was talking about the platform that we're going to actually have a task manager platform, and you will get if you would like to be a donator of your time, you would get a password, and then there will be different directives, and you'll just choose a directive, and then that's given to you, and then there's a date and time where you need to have it done, and you'll just go to work. So it makes it very, very easy. We're going to be extremely organized, and we've got one of the best organizers in the country in Sola, and her leadership is phenomenal.
Thank
Awesome.
you, Fred. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tom, are you having a hard time seeing me? Can you see me on video?
You're frozen on video, but we can hear your audio.
Good. Okay. Well, I want to make a few asks as well in regards to some support that we need. So we need some really fun support. We need some Truckers for Yang gifts and memes. So we want you to flex your creative muscles, and we want to see some cool creative out there. We'll be kicking out some ourselves. So we'd love to see some gifts and memes if you guys are inspired to create any Truckers for Yang pieces. So regarding the data we talked about earlier and gathering not only IRL and on the ground in real life data, but also digital analysis, we're looking for a few data analysts that are willing to come on board and donate their time and support us crafting and collecting that data, crafting the story, and on a bi-weekly basis. So we'd love to hear from you guys. And like Fred mentioned, we're looking for someone to support managing the task manager, the platform itself, and helping us with project management. Lastly, we need probably one more Android developer to support us rolling out the app that we're going to be using to track the 16 trucks. So that's underway currently, where that's on the first version of that is close to being launched, but there are going to be additional iterations, and we could use some deep experience in that direction as well.
And then one more thing, I'll give my contact information out one more time. And if you guys like when you see, I'm going to be super busy, and so we have to prioritize things. And if you're one of those people that I haven't called back, I'm not blowing you off, right? And you can put yourself at the top of the list by just calling me 2, 3, 4 times, in a week, and I will get to you. So don't stop. If you have something that you're passionate about, don't stop calling me. And my phone number is 602-750-8751. Again, that's 602-750-8751. And then also, if you know people that are committed to Andrew Yang and that have money, or if you see me at an event and you know somebody that's famous, that has fame, because fame is political capital as well, put me in contact with that person so that we can dialogue on how we can best make an impact for Andrew MF Yang, as you like to say.
The one, the only.
The one, the only.
So before we wrap, some people just had some quick questions about, are any trucks going to be in Vegas?
I am actually going to California right now, and then they're gonna actually route me through Vegas. Actually, I'm gonna be at the dinner in Vegas.
Vegas, baby.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be at the dinner in Vegas, and then I'm picking up. Shout out to Alyssa Monet Mason, if she's in here.
She is in here. I saw her earlier. Yeah.
Man, she is down like 4 flat tires, man. Let me tell you, she is down for the cause. Oh, there she is. There
She's
she
in
is.
the house.
She's in the house. So we're gonna be picking up Alyssa Monet Mason. We're gonna actually be going to Georgia together, and she's gonna be filming things, and just we're gonna be having a good time yanging along the way.
Love it. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing what you're doing. I love the passion and the sort of independent, kind of semi-autonomous effort here. We need everybody to be creative like you all. And it's going to take all of us hanging together to make this happen. But you got to feel like there's something special going on right now, huh?
Yes.
Absolutely. It's magic.
I feel it. Yang Gang leads the way, baby. All the way. All right. Well, I'm going to end the broadcast now. So everybody, don't forget bit.ly/TFY donate. And that'll allow you to donate. And I guess later on when the tracker's ready, maybe that same bit.ly URL will work, or it'll point you to the right place. And hopefully we can get you guys back on the show for an update after you've had some more adventures in the trucks.
Yes.
Of course. We would even next driver, him or her to everyone.
Love it. When you get the next driver, we'll have another group conversation. Keep it real, guys.
All right, we'll do.
Thank you.
Peace.
Thanks. Bye, nerds.